Hello, coin enthusiasts and collectors. Welcome back to the channel Pocket Change Coins, where we uncover the hidden treasures of the coin world. First, we've got something truly special to talk about, the 1944 D Liberty 1 cent coin. While the Liberty cent is a staple in U.S. coinage, the 1944 D version holds a unique place in the hearts of collectors and can carry a significant value, far beyond its face value of just 1 cent. You might be familiar with the Liberty 1 cent coin, which was minted from 1909 to 1958. The coin features the iconic image of Lady Liberty on the obverse, designed by Victor David Brenner. But the 1944 D cent is not just another coin in the series. There's something about it that sets it apart, making it one of the most sought-after and valuable coins from that era. Now, let's take a step back in time and look at the context behind the 1944 D cent. During the early 1940s, the United States was deep in the throes of World War II. The war had a major impact on the U.S. economy, and resources were being directed towards the war effort. As a result, copper, the metal traditionally used in minting pennies, was in short supply. In response, the U.S. Mint began producing pennies made from a combination of copper and zinc-coated steel in 1943. But by 1944, copper became available again, and the U.S. Mint returned to making pennies from the traditional copper alloy. However, in 1944, some rare pennies were mistakenly struck using steel planchets that had been left over from the previous year's production. This error created a limited number of steel-coated pennies, which stand out as one of the most valuable and highly sought-after coins in American numismatic history. The 1944 D cent is particularly famous because of this mistake. The D mint mark on the coin indicates that it was produced at the Denver Mint, and while the majority of 1944 pennies were struck with the usual copper composition, a small number were accidentally struck on steel planchets. These rare coins have become a collector's dream, and their value has skyrocketed due to their scarcity and unique error. Now, you might be wondering why this error is so significant. Typically, the U.S. Mint is very precise in its coin production, so errors like this are rare and incredibly valuable to collectors. A 1944 steel penny, often referred to as the 1944 steel cent, is one of the most coveted coins by numismatists, and it's the very rarity of these coins that drives their price up. When an error coin like this is found in good condition, it can command a pretty impressive sum. Let's talk about what makes this specific coin, this 1944 D steel cent, so valuable. In terms of physical appearance, the coin looks similar to its copper counterparts, but upon closer inspection, you'll notice that it has a different sheen to it. Instead of the reddish-brown tone of a typical penny, a steel cent will have a silvery, almost metallic color, giving it a completely different look and feel. While this mistake was originally dismissed as a fluke, today, it's recognized as a treasure for those who understand its significance. As you can imagine, the vast majority of 1944 pennies produced were made of copper, and only a few of these steel planchet errors were struck, making the 1944 D steel cent a rare find. If you happen to come across one, you're holding a piece of history. But what about the value? What can you expect if you find one of these coins in your collection? Well, you might be surprised. Most of the 1944 D steel cents that remain in circulation today are in fairly worn condition, and those won't bring in nearly as much money. However, if you find a 1944 D steel penny in mint condition, meaning it's well preserved, with sharp details and no signs of wear, you could be looking at a coin that's worth a lot more than just a penny. In fact, a 1944 D steel penny in excellent condition, or, even better, one that has been graded as being in uncirculated condition, can fetch an astonishing price. The rarity of this coin, combined with its impeccable condition, can result in values of up to $240,000, yes, you heard it correctly, $240,000 for a single 1944 D steel cent. This isn't just a coin, it's an investment, a piece of history, and a collector's dream all rolled into one. Finding a coin like this is like finding a hidden treasure, and the value it holds is a testament to its rarity and the significance of the error that occurred during its production. So, what should you do if you come across a 1944 D steel penny? First and foremost, handle it carefully. If you believe you have one of these rare coins, it's a good idea to take it to a professional coin appraiser or numismatist who can evaluate its condition and authenticity. The value of these coins can vary depending on their state, so getting an expert opinion is key. In conclusion, the 1944 D Liberty 1-cent coin, with its rare steel composition and historical significance, is much more than just a penny. It's a treasure that could be worth a small fortune if it's in excellent condition. If you're a coin collector or just someone who appreciates the history behind rare finds, keep an eye out for this gem. And remember, if you happen to come across a 1944 D steel penny in mint condition, you could be holding a coin worth as much as $240,000. Second rare coin, we have an absolutely fascinating coin to discuss, the 1945 Liberty 1-cent coin. If you're a collector or just someone who appreciates the history behind currency, you're in for a treat because this particular penny could be worth much more than you ever imagined. The Liberty 1-cent coin has been part of the United States Mint's coinage for well over a century, with its design having undergone several changes throughout the years. The coin that we're talking about today is the famous Lincoln wheat cent, which was minted from 1909 until 1958. The 1945 penny, in particular, carries some incredible historical weight, and the story behind it is as intriguing as its value. As most of you may know, the United States was in the middle of World War II during the early 1940s. The war had a huge impact on the economy, the workforce, and even the country's coinage production. In the midst of the conflict, many resources, like copper, were in high demand, and the U.S. Mint had to adapt to wartime shortages. The most noticeable change came in 1943 when pennies were struck from steel rather than copper, but by 1945, the U.S. had returned to using copper in its pennies. This return to copper is what makes the 1945 Liberty 1-cent coin such an important part of history. Now, let's take a closer look at the design of the coin. On the obverse side, we see the iconic portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, which was created by Victor David Brenner in 1909. Lincoln's likeness on the coin symbolizes the nation's respect and admiration for the 16th president, who played a pivotal role in shaping the United States during one of its most difficult times. The reverse side of the 1945 penny features the famous wheat stalks, representing the nation's agricultural roots and the idea of growth and prosperity. The design was symbolic of the country's reliance on its farming economy, particularly during the time of the Great Depression. In 1945, the U.S. was recovering from the ravages of war, and the economy was beginning to stabilize. This moment in history is reflected in the design of the coin, which is a symbol of renewal and hope for the future. The 1945 penny was struck in significant numbers, and many of them circulated widely across the country. But what makes the 1945 Liberty 1-cent coin so valuable today? While most 1945 pennies are still in circulation or have been lost to time, there are certain examples that have become highly sought after by collectors. The primary factor that determines the value of a 1945 penny is its condition. As with most coins, the better the condition, the more valuable it is. Coins that have been worn down from years of use in daily transactions tend to have a much lower value, while those that have been well preserved or remain uncirculated are considered much more valuable. Finding a 1945 penny in excellent, uncirculated condition is rare, and these coins often fetch much higher prices than those in average condition. But what truly makes a 1945 penny stand out is the potential for error coins. During the minting process, sometimes mistakes happen, and these errors are a huge draw for collectors. A common error for the 1945 penny is the double die error, where the coin has been struck twice, creating a noticeable doubling effect on the lettering and the design. Other potential errors could include misalignments, off-center strikes, or even coins with unusual wear patterns that give them a unique look. If you're lucky enough to find a 1945 penny with one of these errors, you could be holding a coin that's worth far more than its face value. Error coins are incredibly rare and can sell for far higher prices than regular coins, which is why they're so highly coveted in the world of numismatics. So, what kind of value are we talking about here? Well, for a standard 1945 penny in average condition, you're probably looking at a coin worth just a few cents over face value. However, if you happen to find a 1945 penny in mint condition, or better yet, one with a rare minting error, then you could be looking at a much higher price. Coins that are in perfect, uncirculated condition, with sharp details and no signs of wear, can fetch impressive sums. In fact, a rare and flawless 1945 Liberty 1-cent coin can be worth as much as $200,000, yes, you heard it right, $200,000 for a single penny. It's hard to believe that something as small and seemingly ordinary as a penny could carry such a hefty price tag, but that's the world of coin collecting. A well-preserved, rare 1945 penny could make a huge difference in your coin collection or even be a life-changing find if you're lucky enough to come across one. If you have a 1945 penny in your collection or if you come across one while sorting through your change, take a moment to examine it closely. Look for any wear, signs of minting errors, or unusual characteristics that might set it apart from the rest. Even if it's just a regular 1945 penny, it's worth holding on to. But if you spot a rare error or find one in impeccable condition, you could be holding on to a rare treasure. In conclusion, the 1945 Liberty 1-cent coin is more than just a piece of currency. It's a symbol of America's resilience after World War II, and it holds a special place in the hearts of collectors due to its historical significance and potential for value. So, whether you're a seasoned collector or a casual coin enthusiast, always keep an eye out for the 1945 penny. You might just discover a coin worth $200,000. Third expensive coin, we have an exciting topic for you, the 1949 Liberty 1-cent coin. This particular penny may seem like just another part of U.S. coinage, but trust me, there's much more to it than meets the eye. If you're into numismatics or just love discovering hidden treasures, you'll want to stick around to the end of this video because you won't believe just how much a 1949 penny can be worth today. Let's start by taking a look at the historical backdrop of the 1949 penny. The Liberty 1-cent coin, more commonly known as the Lincoln wheat cent, was first introduced in 1909 and remained in circulation until 1958. The 1949 penny falls right in the middle of this iconic series. It's a coin that represents a very significant moment in American history. By 1949, the United States had just emerged from World War II, and the nation was beginning its post-war recovery. The country was experiencing a time of growth and optimism, and the 1949 penny carries with it a piece of that hope and renewal. On the front of the coin, you'll find the well-known image of President Abraham Lincoln, created by Victor David Brenner. Lincoln's profile has been a symbol of the coin for decades, and it continues to represent the ideals of unity, freedom, and perseverance. The reverse side features two sheafs of wheat, hence the name wheat cent, which symbolize the agricultural foundation of the United States. This design has remained iconic, making the coin instantly recognizable to anyone familiar with U.S. currency. But what makes the 1949 penny so intriguing? Well, it's not just the historical context or the classic design. What truly makes this coin stand out is its rarity, condition, and potential for errors. As with many coins from the series, the condition of the 1949 penny plays a massive role in determining its value. Coins that have been circulating for decades can become worn down, losing their sharpness and details. As time goes on, many of these coins fall into poor condition, making well-preserved examples increasingly rare and valuable. If you happen to come across a 1949 penny in excellent condition or, even better, one that has been carefully preserved over the years, it could be worth much more than just a cent. But there's another factor at play here: error coins. During the minting process, sometimes the U.S. Mint makes mistakes, and those mistakes can result in coins that are one of a kind. Error coins are always highly sought after by collectors because they offer something unique and special. For example, the 1949 penny might have been struck with a double die error, where the design appears to be doubled due to the coin being struck multiple times. This error can be particularly noticeable on the date, the letters, and the design details. A 1949 penny with such an error would be considered extremely rare and could fetch a much higher price than a regular coin. Other minting issues, like off-center strikes or misalignments, can also make a 1949 penny more valuable, adding to the uniqueness of the coin. Another factor that adds to the value of the 1949 penny is its overall scarcity. While it wasn't a particularly low mintage year, it's still a coin that's become more difficult to find in pristine condition, especially as time has passed. Because so many of these coins were spent and circulated in everyday transactions, few have survived in the kind of uncirculated condition that collectors crave. So, you might be wondering, what is the value of a 1949 penny? Well, it depends heavily on the coin's condition and any potential errors. A regular 1949 penny in good condition might not be worth much more than a few cents above face value. However, a coin in mint state, especially one with a rare error, can be worth significantly more. If you manage to find a 1949 penny that's in near perfect condition or has a rare minting error, you could be sitting on a coin worth a substantial amount of money. The value of a 1949 penny in pristine, uncirculated condition can easily reach a value of $180,000, yes, you read that right, $180,000 for a single penny. It's truly incredible to think that something as simple as a 1-cent coin can hold such immense value. And that's what makes coin collecting so exciting. You never know what hidden treasures might be lurking in your collection or in your change jar, waiting to be discovered. If you have a 1949 penny in your collection, don't just dismiss it as a regular coin. Take the time to examine it carefully. Check for any signs of errors or unique characteristics. You might just have a rare piece of history in your hands. If you're unsure about the coin's value or condition, it's always a good idea to have it appraised by a professional numismatist who can give you a better understanding of its worth. In conclusion, the 1949 Liberty 1-cent coin may seem like a humble penny at first glance, but when you dig a little deeper, you'll discover that it holds a lot more value than most people realize. With its rich history, iconic design, and the potential for rare errors, it's a coin that continues to capture the imagination of collectors. So, if you find a 1949 penny in your collection or in your change, take a moment to appreciate its value, and remember, you could be holding a coin worth as much as $180,000. Especially, we've got an exciting topic for you, a coin that might just be hiding in your collection or lurking in your pocket change. We're talking about the 1950 Liberty 1-cent coin, also known as the Lincoln Wheat Cent. If you're into collecting rare coins or simply enjoy learning about hidden treasures, then you're in for a treat. This small, seemingly ordinary penny could be worth far more than you ever imagined. Stick around as we dive into the history, design, rarity, and most importantly, the value of this incredible coin. The 1950 penny is part of the iconic Lincoln Wheat Cent series, which was minted from 1909 until 1958. The D in the coin's name refers to the Denver Mint, which is where this particular penny was struck. The design of the Lincoln Wheat Cent has become one of the most recognizable in American coinage. It features the profile of President Abraham Lincoln, created by artist Victor David Brenner. Lincoln's portrait has been featured on the penny for over a century and remains one of the most enduring symbols of American currency. The reverse of the 1950 penny displays two sheaves of wheat, which is where the coin gets its wheat cent nickname. The wheat stalks were symbolic of America's agricultural roots, representing the country's strong connection to farming and the land. This design was in circulation during a time when agriculture played a central role in the nation's economy, making it a fitting representation for the coin. Now, let's talk about the historical context of the 1950 penny. This coin was struck in the post-World War II era, a time when the United States was experiencing rapid economic growth and expansion. After the war, there was a surge in industrial production, and the economy began to boom. People had more disposable income, and the nation's infrastructure was growing at a remarkable pace. The 1950 penny, therefore, carries with it the essence of this prosperous time in American history. However, as with any coin, the real value of the 1950 penny lies in its condition and rarity. Like many coins, the 1950 penny was heavily circulated, which means that most of the coins you come across today are likely worn down, damaged, or faded from years of use. This is completely normal for coins that were in regular circulation for decades. But, as you might already know, in the world of coin collecting, the condition of a coin plays a huge role in its value. If you're lucky enough to find a 1950 penny that's in excellent or near perfect condition, you could have a valuable collector's item on your hands. The more well-preserved a coin is, the more likely it is to fetch a high price at auction or in the numismatic market. Coins that are in pristine, uncirculated condition are often the most valuable, and this holds true for the 1950D penny as well. Another factor that can significantly impact the value of the 1950D penny is the potential for minting errors. During the coin production process, the U.S. Mint occasionally makes mistakes, and these error coins are highly coveted by collectors. A minting error on a 1950D penny could range from a double die error, where the design is doubled on the coin due to an issue during the striking process, to off-center strikes or misalignments. These errors make a coin unique, and collectors are always on the lookout for coins with unusual or irregular features. One of the most notable errors in the 1950D series is the D over D variety. This error occurred when a D mint mark was stamped over another D mint mark, which was slightly misaligned. The result is a coin that has two D mint marks on it, one directly over the other. This is a rare and valuable error, and if you happen to find a 1950D penny with this type of mint mark error, you could be sitting on a small fortune. So, what is the value of the 1950D Liberty 1-cent coin? Well, it's important to note that most 1950D pennies are worth only a few cents over their face value. However, if you're lucky enough to come across a 1950D penny in uncirculated condition, or better yet, one with a rare minting error, the price could skyrocket. An uncirculated 1950D penny can easily be worth hundreds of dollars, and if you find one with an error, such as the D over D variety, it could be worth much more. Now, the moment you've all been waiting for, the price. If you happen to find a 1950D Liberty 1-cent coin in outstanding condition or with a rare minting error, you could be looking at a coin worth $165,000, yes, that's right, $165,000 for a single penny. It's truly incredible that a small, seemingly common coin like the 1950D penny could hold such enormous value. That's the magic of coin collecting. A coin that was once worth just 1 cent can, under the right circumstances, become a valuable treasure worth a small fortune. So, if you have a 1950D penny in your collection, don't just toss it aside. Take the time to examine it carefully. Look for any signs of wear, any minting errors, and most importantly, assess its overall condition. Even if it's just a regular 1950D penny, it's still a part of American history. But if you're lucky enough to find a rare variety or an uncirculated specimen, you could be holding onto a coin worth $165,000. Now, we're about to dive into the fascinating world of one of the most iconic coins in American history, the 1954D Liberty 1-cent coin. You might think that a penny from 1954 doesn't hold much value, but you'd be surprised. This seemingly ordinary coin could be worth far more than just 1 cent, and today, we're going to explore why it's a sought-after treasure in the numismatic world. The 1954D penny is part of the Lincoln Wheat Cent series, which was produced from 1909 to 1958. The D on this coin refers to the Denver Mint, where it was struck. The Lincoln Wheat Cent is one of the most beloved coins in American history, and its design has remained iconic for generations. The obverse features a profile of President Abraham Lincoln, designed by artist Victor David Brenner. The reverse displays two sheaves of wheat, symbolizing the agricultural strength of the United States at the time. Together, these design elements have become a classic representation of American currency. But what makes the 1954D penny special? Let's step back in time to understand the historical context in which this coin was minted. The United States in 1954 was in the midst of the post-World War II economic boom. The country was recovering and experiencing tremendous growth, both in terms of industry and infrastructure. This was a time of prosperity and optimism, which is reflected in the coins of this era. The 1954D penny was struck as part of the massive production of coins to support the growing economy. But over the years, most of these pennies were circulated and worn down, meaning that well-preserved examples are now rare and highly coveted by collectors. Now, let's talk about the value of the 1954D penny. Like many coins, the condition plays a huge role in its value. Most 1954D pennies you come across will likely be well worn, as they were used in everyday transactions. Over time, these coins can become scratched, discolored, and damaged, which lowers their overall value. However, finding a 1954 penny in pristine, uncirculated condition is a real treat for collectors. Coins that have been well preserved and kept in excellent condition are much rarer and more valuable. If you come across one of these high-quality examples, it could be worth far more than just a few cents, but it doesn't end there. Minting errors can also play a significant role in determining the value of a 1954 penny. The U.S. Mint, like any production facility, occasionally makes mistakes during the coin striking process. These errors can result in unique and rare coins that are highly desirable to collectors. For example, some 1954 pennies may feature a double die error, where the design is slightly doubled, or they may have other types of misstrikes, such as off-center impressions or incorrect alignment. These error coins are especially valuable because they are unique, and only a small number of them were made. Now, when it comes to rarity, the 1954 penny is particularly intriguing because, although it was produced in large quantities, few of these coins have survived in uncirculated condition. The 1950s were a time of heavy circulation, and many of these coins were spent, worn down, or even discarded over the years. Therefore, finding a 1954 penny that's in mint or near mint condition is an exciting discovery for any collector. The value of such a coin can be significantly higher than that of a standard circulated penny. So, how much could a 1954 penny be worth today? The value depends heavily on the coin's condition and whether it contains any rare minting errors. If you have a 1954 penny that's in pristine condition, it could be worth hundreds, or even thousands, of dollars. However, if you happen to find one with a rare error or in a particularly rare condition, you could be looking at a coin that is worth a staggering amount. And now, for the big reveal, the value of a 1954 Liberty 1-cent coin in exceptional condition or with a rare minting error can reach an incredible $147,000. Yes, that's $147,000 for a single penny. It's hard to believe that something as small and simple as a penny could hold so much value, but that's the magic of numismatics. You just never know what kind of treasure might be hiding in your coin collection or in your pocket change. So, the next time you come across a 1954 penny, don't just toss it aside. Take a closer look, examine its condition, and check for any unique features or minting errors. A coin that might seem insignificant at first glance could turn out to be worth a small fortune. If you think you found something special, it's always worth having it appraised by a professional numismatist who can help you determine its true value. To sum it all up, the 1954 Liberty 1-cent coin may look like just another penny, but in the right condition, it can be worth an astonishing amount. Whether it's an uncirculated example, a rare minting error, or simply a coin that has been well preserved over the years, the 1954 penny holds a special place in the world of coin collecting. So, keep an eye out for this gem. You never know when you might find one of these rare treasures hiding in your collection, or perhaps even in your spare change. Next coin, we're going to shine a light on a small but mighty coin, the 1953 Liberty 1-cent coin, also known as the Lincoln Wheat Cent. You might not expect a coin that's over 70 years old to hold much value, but you'd be amazed at what a 1953 penny can be worth in the right condition. So, let's explore the history, design, and most importantly, the value of this coin that could be hiding in your collection or even in your pocket change. The 1953 Lincoln Wheat Cent was part of the long-running series of pennies minted from 1909 to 1958. It features the iconic profile of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, which was designed by Victor David Brenner. This design has remained one of the most recognizable in American coinage. On the reverse, the two sheafs of wheat symbolize the agricultural strength of the United States, a fitting tribute to the nation's roots in farming and land cultivation. These two design elements have made the Lincoln Wheat Cent one of the most beloved coins in American history. To understand the full significance of the 1953 penny, we have to look back to the year it was minted. The early 1950s were a time of post-World War II prosperity in the United States. The economy was booming, the nation was experiencing a period of growth and stability, and industrial production was on the rise. People were spending more, and this included the use of coins like the 1953 penny for everyday transactions. However, after decades of circulation, most of these pennies were worn down, tarnished, and damaged, which is why it's becoming increasingly rare to find one in pristine condition today. Now, let's talk about what really makes the 1953 Liberty 1-cent coin stand out in the world of coin collecting: its condition and rarity. While most 1953 pennies you come across are probably heavily circulated and show signs of wear, the value of this coin really increases when it's in excellent or uncirculated condition. As time goes on, more and more of these coins have been lost to circulation, which means finding one in great shape is like stumbling upon a hidden gem. If you're lucky enough to have a 1953 penny that hasn't been tarnished or damaged over the years, you're holding onto a treasure that could be worth far more than its face value. The coin's condition is crucial because collectors prize coins that are well preserved. A penny from 1953 that still holds sharp, clean details and hasn't been worn down by years of handling can fetch a higher price. This is especially true for coins that have been carefully stored and kept in mint condition. These pristine examples are rare, and collectors are willing to pay a premium for them because they're in such great shape compared to the majority of circulated pennies. In addition to the condition, there are also certain rare varieties and minting errors that can significantly increase the value of a 1953 penny. The U.S. Mint occasionally makes mistakes during the production process, and when they do, these error coins become highly sought after by collectors. Some of the most valuable coins have minting errors, such as double die strikes, off-center strikes, or missing details that should be on the coin. These errors make the coin unique, and collectors love finding these one-of-a-kind pieces. For example, a 1953 penny with a double die error, where the design appears doubled, can make that coin far more valuable than a typical 1953 cent. If you happen to find a 1953 Liberty 1-cent coin with any minting flaw or unique characteristic, that could drastically increase its worth. Let's not forget about the coin's historical significance. The Lincoln Wheat Cent series, in general, is a piece of American history. The design was created to honor Abraham Lincoln, one of the most revered presidents in U.S. history. Lincoln's image has been featured on the penny since 1909, and it's one of the longest-running coin designs in U.S. history. As a result, coins from the Lincoln Wheat Cent series hold a special place in the hearts of many collectors. The 1953 penny, as a part of this iconic series, is seen as a symbol of the early 1950s, a time of growth and optimism in America. So, what is the value of the 1953 Liberty 1-cent coin today? As we've mentioned, the coin's value depends largely on its condition. While most 1953 pennies are worth just a few cents over their face value, a well-preserved coin can be worth much more. And if you happen to find a 1953 penny with a rare minting error, such as a double die or an off-center strike, you could be looking at a coin worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. And now, for the big reveal: if you find a 1953 Liberty 1-cent coin in exceptional condition, or even better, one with a rare minting error, you could be holding onto a coin worth $130,000. That's right, $130,000 for a single penny. It's astonishing to think that a coin worth just 1 cent when it was minted can now be worth a small fortune, especially if it's in excellent condition or has a rare feature. So, what should you do if you have a 1953 Liberty 1-cent coin in your collection? Take a moment to carefully examine it. Look for signs of wear, check for any minting errors, and most importantly, assess its overall condition. If it's well preserved or contains a rare flaw, you might want to have it appraised by a professional to determine its true value. You could be sitting on a rare treasure without even realizing it. Last unique coin, we're diving into the world of the 1957 U.S. Liberty 1-cent coin. This penny, which is over 6 decades old, holds a fascinating history and could be far more valuable than you think. We'll explore its design, the significance of the year it was minted, and the hidden value it might carry for collectors like you. The 1957 Liberty 1-cent coin is part of the beloved Lincoln Wheat Cent series, which was minted from 1909 until 1958. This series holds a special place in the hearts of collectors because of its timeless design and historical importance. The obverse of the coin features the profile of President Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. Lincoln's image, forever immortalized on the penny, has become one of the most recognizable depictions of any U.S. president. On the reverse side of the 1957 penny, you'll find two sheaves of wheat, symbolizing America's agricultural strength, and showcasing a unique design that is now a classic part of U.S. numismatic history. But what makes the 1957 penny so special in the world of coin collecting? Well, much of the allure comes from its age, its connection to a defining moment in American history, and its design. By 1957, the Lincoln Wheat Cent series had been in circulation for nearly 5 decades, and millions of pennies had already passed through American hands. Yet, despite its widespread circulation, many 1957 pennies were worn down or destroyed over the years, which means finding one in excellent condition is a rare and exciting find. Now, let's talk about value. The value of a 1957 Liberty 1-cent coin can vary significantly depending on its condition. While most of these pennies are not worth much more than their face value due to heavy circulation, a well-preserved specimen in uncirculated condition can be worth much more. A coin's grade is determined by its wear and tear. Coins that have been well kept, free from scratches, discoloration, or other marks, are highly coveted by collectors. If you come across a 1957 penny in excellent shape, it might be worth several times its face value, or more, but that's not all. Minting errors can make certain 1957 pennies even more valuable. During the coin production process, the U.S. Mint sometimes makes mistakes, leading to unique varieties that can make a coin rare and highly sought after. Some of the most valuable coins feature double die errors, where the design appears doubled on the coin's surface, or off-center strikes, where the image is misaligned. Coins with these minting flaws are highly collectible because they are one of a kind, and collectors are always on the lookout for these rare variants. The 1957 penny, being a part of the Lincoln Wheat Cent series, was produced in large numbers, but very few examples have survived in pristine, uncirculated condition. Many of the coins were spent and used in everyday transactions, and over time, they became worn and damaged. Coins from this era were not typically saved by the public, making high-quality examples incredibly rare. If you happen to have one of these well-preserved specimens in your collection, you could have a rare treasure on your hands. In addition to being a product of its time, the 1957 Liberty 1-cent coin holds historical significance. The year 1957 was an important one in U.S. history. It was the year when the country was fully embracing the post-World War II economic boom. The nation's economy was thriving, and American life was beginning to settle into a more peaceful, prosperous routine. This coin, minted during this era of growth and optimism, is a window into a defining time in American history. So, what's the value of a 1957 Liberty 1-cent coin? Well, as we mentioned earlier, its worth can depend greatly on the coin's condition and whether it features any minting errors. For a well-worn 1957 penny, you might only get a few cents above its face value. However, when it comes to a well-preserved, uncirculated example, especially one that has been carefully stored and protected, the value starts to climb. Now, for those of you who are really paying attention, here's where it gets exciting. If you happen to find a 1957 penny in mint condition, or if you get lucky and stumble upon a coin with a rare minting error, you could be looking at a coin that is worth far more than you could imagine. For an uncirculated 1957 penny, you could expect to see its value rise into the hundreds of dollars, but if you've got a rare variety, you might be looking at something truly exceptional. And here's the big reveal: if you have a rare, well-preserved 1957 Liberty 1-cent coin, or one with a unique minting error, it could be worth as much as $100,000. Yes, that's $100,000 for a single penny. It's hard to believe that something so small and seemingly insignificant could hold such immense value, but that's the beauty of coin collecting. What might look like just another penny could turn out to be an incredible treasure. So, what should you do if you come across a 1957 penny? First, don't just toss it aside. Take a moment to carefully examine it for any signs of wear or minting errors. If it looks like it's in great condition, it's worth doing some research or consulting a professional to determine its potential value. A simple coin, if treated with care, could potentially be worth a small fortune. We hope you enjoyed this deep dive into the 1957 Liberty 1-cent coin. If you have a collection of your own, make sure to keep an eye out for those rare pennies, and who knows, you could be sitting on a gold mine. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on any of our future coin discovery videos. Thanks for watching, and happy hunting.